you're not in competition with anybody but yourself. A lot of people can give up. It's easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done.
You might even talk about divorce and you go, where did this come from? Or, you know, you get laid off at work and you didn't see it coming and you go, duh, what am I gonna do now? Worse yet, you get the big C. You go to the doctor and he says, you need to call me back immediately. You've got cancer. The bottom falls out of your world. Or worse yet, a child gets diagnosed with a serious health issue and somebody in the family dies unexpectedly, your dad, your mom, your child, and you're all of a sudden comes the sleepless nights, the battle with depression, I can't concentrate during the day, feelings of hopelessness, stress, and anxiety, maybe even suicidal. I get it. I've been there. Now some of you today go, well, I'm doing real good. Okay, I praise God for you. I'm glad. But if you live long enough, you will have these moments. They're coming for all of you. And you have to learn to fight. Paul said, I fought the good fight. See, I get it. I know about fake smiles. I know about canned responses. How you doing? Oh, great. How about you? Baloney. You're lying. You're not doing great.
You walk out of this room, you owe yourself. I didn't get here making excuses. So what, my father wasn't in my life? The truth of the matter is, he ain't never come into my life. So what, I'm gonna wait for the rest of my life for my man to come? He ain't coming. I live in America. I'm an African-American male. They don't treat us the same. It's something called racism. I ain't gonna cry about it. It's probably gonna be racism till the day I die, but I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm still gonna be a millionaire. I'm still gonna be one of the top motivational speakers in the world. No, I didn't grow up on that side of the town. No, my mama don't have no network. No, I don't know a whole lot of people. No, I'm not at a country club. No, I don't play golf, and I don't plan on playing no time soon. No, I'm not a part of the country club. Nope, I'm not. I don't hang out with them, but I'm still gonna be successful. I'm still gonna get to where they are. Why? Because I owe it to myself. And can't nobody stop me but me.
I told Mr. Washington I wanted to become a disc jockey. Someone asked me to tell this story. And he said, Les Brown, he said, if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry. And so I started working to develop myself. He said, I want you to practice every day being a disc jockey. I said, but I don't have any job now. He said, it doesn't matter. He said that it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So every day I was working to develop myself. And that's what you must do. And as I was working to develop myself, I applied for a job as a disc jockey, WMBM on Miami Beach. I went to a guy named Milton Butterball. I said, how you doing, Mr. Butterball? I'd like to get a job as a disc jockey. He looked at me, he said, you have any broadcast background? I said, no, sir, I don't. You have any journalism background? I said, no, sir, I don't. He said, we don't have any jobs available.
Everything you people have told me, I didn't have the technology, I didn't have the right contacts, I didn't have the time, I didn't have money. Everything you've told me, I didn't have enough Supreme Court justices. Those are resources. And so you're telling me I failed because I didn't have the resources. And I'm here to tell you what you already know. Resources are never the problem. It's a lack of resourcefulness is why you failed. Because the ultimate resources are emotional states. Creativity, decisiveness, passion, honesty, sincerity, love. These are the ultimate human resources. And when you engage these resources, you can get any other resource on earth. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. And if you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats, and you will take the island because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed.
I've discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or different strategy or plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. See, 5 years ago when I started out in this area, I would not have been able to make the mental leap that I would be up to where I am right now.
How beautiful it is, how amazing it is to be able to rise up in the morning and have that sun shine on your face.
That they're just gonna say, man, what if I hadn't have given up? What if I would have kept going? Don't say what if. Please, 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 please. Don't have the what ifs down the road. You keep going now, and I'm telling you, you'll be in a better place than you would be if you quit.
They're like, what motivates you now? Because you have what you want. What motivates? I said, I did it, but can I duplicate myself?
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing.
I'm not sure of that. I know the ideal situation would be to literally get rid of all the negative, automatic, negative, out of control thinking that anybody has. I gotta get people to like me. That's a negative comment. I don't have to get people to like me. You know, people either like me or they don't. I need to lose weight, okay? Well, maybe I do, but am I also saying that I'm fat? Am I also saying that I don't like my weight right now? Because if I'm saying that, I'm broke, I can't spend that money. I look at a steak, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Be careful what you say to yourself, okay? Because if you're saying a $30 steak is a lot of money, or a $4 toy is a lot of money when your kid wants a $4 toy, listen to what you're saying. That's a lot of money. $4 is a lot of money. Okay, on my worst day, $4 has not been a lot of money, even though, okay, I've been at periods in my life where I didn't have $4. So I'm talking to you today about how do you control? How do you control? How do you discipline?
Whatever you focus on becomes your reality. So focus on your goals, not the obstacles. Stay quiet about your goals. And pretty soon, your results will do all the talking.
This is outrageously humbling. Every single person in this room, since you're here, there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to kill it. And that's what I want to talk about today. PP. I really want to talk about this. Patience and passion. Let's start with passion. There is way too many people in this room right now that are doing stuff they hate. Please stop doing that. There is no reason in 2008 to do shit you hate. None. Promise me you won't. Because you can lose just as much money being happy as hell. You know, I took over my family business. It was doing a couple $1 million a year, and over a 7-year period, I built it up to a $50 million company, turned 30, freaked out, and decided I wanted to do something else.
Everybody works on a commission. My secretary, the president of our company, the president of the United States, the truck driver, anybody works on a commission. Even if they have a salary, they're on a commission because the salary is dependent upon productivity. And if they do not produce, then it's just a question of time before the job itself is gone. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a fact. Why, you can even get to be the president of the United States. And if you don't produce like you ought to, they'll get you. George Washington, probably one of the greatest salesmen who ever lived, and I want to tell you what his sales job was. He literally had to sell the farmers and the merchants and the backwoodsmen and the seamen on leaving what they were doing, coming and joining the Army or the Navy, going to war against the most powerful nation on the face of this earth, the biggest Navy and the strongest Army, and he had to sell them along the idea, let's go fight those people. But let me tell you in advance, now if we win, I'm not going to be able to pay you. And if we lose, they're going to string you to the highest tree.
Pleasure it is for me to come and visit with you for just a few minutes here today. Tell you briefly a little bit about my story and share some ideas that might be beneficial. I've lectured in some high school classrooms in California and Arizona and some universities and colleges. Pepperdine University, San Diego State, Arizona State University. And so I've had a chance to talk to kids that are interested in themselves and interested in their future, interested in America, interested in what they can do with their lives, and listening to stories that might be beneficial. And I don't have a chance to, visit all of the schools and universities around the world. So this is a great chance for me, by video, to have a chance to tell you my story. Just briefly, let me tell you my story. I grew up in Idaho, farm country.
Don't expect others to give you what you give them, right? Like, one of the biggest things that I'm now very comfortable with understanding is my heart is different, and the energy attached to making others feel good is a high level energy. And just because you had that, it doesn't mean that other people should. Everybody operates differently, right? And everybody shows their love or shows their value or shows their commitment differently.
Yeah.
So I took the pressure off of others when I stopped expecting you to do what I do.
Alfred Golson, who has since passed, was a very unusual guy. And he told me, he said, Mr. Brown, you have cancer. I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yes, and you're ugly too. Those three words, you have cancer, are three of the most feared words in 7 different languages. I saw it as a fight. And from that time to this time, my PSA was 2,400. And that stands for prostate-specific antigen, and now it's below 0 and metastasized in 7 areas of my body, which was a good thing because 7 is my lucky number. Okay, so I never was fearful that I was going to die from it, and I think that I read something by Dr. Norman Cousins. He wrote a book called The Biology of Hope, and he talked about the fact that when something happens to you, you don't deny it, you defy it. And I was defiant that I'm going to beat this, I'm going to handle this. That there are people who many times when something happens to them,
every day for the rest of my life by the way that I live my life, because I would never let a circumstance or a situation define my life. Adversity is adversity. And the reason I love adversity is because you don't judge a person's character by where they stand when everything is all good. Everybody can stand up and do good when everything is all good. Everybody can smile when it's sunshine. Everybody can do right when everything is going right. Everybody can do that. But everybody can't face opposition, adversity, and challenges and say, I've been waiting on you to come. I'm going to embrace you, and I'm going to figure out a way to use you, because you would never turn me into a different person. You would never make me a person that people don't recognize before the adversity. You ever seen a person that faced something and you don't even recognize it? Like, the thing I've learned about life, like, everybody is in different businesses, per se, but at the end of the day, we're all in the people's business. And what I mean by that is every day we have a chance to impact somebody's life, right? And I firmly believe with the things we're part of and the things we do, we all have to have a purpose that's a lot greater than ourselves. So when we hit things that we don't understand and that brings us a certain level of discomfort and that hurts us and we just can't pull the grips on it, when we have to encounter things like that, we have to step back and we have to figure out, how can I use it? And a lot of times as people, like, naturally people are selfish, right? And what I mean by that is they approach situations and they say, what can I extract from this situation?
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! You're getting comfortable! Comfortability kills dreams! So get up and go get those guys!
Right? When I was at officer candidate school, you got to do the most ridiculous rules. They have these rules that you've got to follow that were really annoying. And you know what I did? I executed the rules harder and more stringently than anybody thought was even remotely necessary, and had fun with it. I played that game. If I've got a peer that maybe I'm competing with or there's some tension, I'm going to support them. I'm going to play the game. That's what I'm saying. You got to play the game. Now, does this make me a bad person or a fake person? No. Why? Because you're doing this. The reason you're playing the game, the reason you're acting this way is for benevolent reasons, right? This guy at the fire department, he's not trying to get promoted so that he can usurp the powers and take over. No, he's trying to get into a position where he can better lead and serve and step up and raise young leaders underneath him. That's what you're trying to do.
It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. That ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me.
I have yet to give a speech or have a meeting where somebody doesn't ask me the millennial question.
What's the millennial question?
Apparently, millennials as a generation, which is a group of people who were born approximately 1984 and after, are tough to manage. And they're accused of being entitled and narcissistic, self-interested, unfocused, lazy. But entitled is the big one. And because they confound leadership so much, what's happening is leaders are asking the millennials, what do you want? And millennials are saying, we want to work in a place with purpose, love that. We want to make an impact, whatever that means. We want free food and beanbags.
So, like, for instance, let's say you have no races. Let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. People need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K, there's no I'm gonna get into school to be this or that and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's gonna come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not gonna be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there.
We think it's further away than it is. And because we think it's so far away, Jay, we create patterns and behaviors in our life that perpetually keep it there.
Ooh.
And that's what we do in our life. But what if that's the great lie of life? And what if the truth is that you're one relationship away, one meeting away, one conversation, one podcast, one interview, one new thought, one new emotion, one new tactic or strategy away from completely changing the trajectory of your life. And everyone that you and I know that we both work with, that we're blessed to work with in our lives, the truth is it was one decision, one meeting, one extra rep, one more phone call, one thing they did that changed their trajectory. Then the question then becomes, how do I do it? And so the strategies are in the book, but conceptually, that's 100% how you change your life. Feel blissful. When I feel peaceful is when I produce the physical things that I want, not the other way around. Oof. And so my mores are more emotional focus. Most of us, then I'll come up for air here, have an emotional home.
One day I changed the question I was asking myself. And instead of saying, why do I have to do this? Or how come this has happened to me? I asked the question of, what would happen if? What would happen if I turned my whole life around? What would happen if all of a sudden I went and learned some things that could change it all? And what I began to do literally is open up a new possibility. I think most people's lives, they fail primarily because they don't open up the possibility, so they never take the actions that could change their life. And because I asked, how can I turn my life around?
Part of my life was completely unconscious. I was, by that I mean I wasn't walking into telephone poles. I knew my address, I knew my telephone number, but I wasn't really aware of what I was doing. I was addicted to sex. I was angry. The street name for this is macho. And I became a paratrooper. I became an officer in the Special Forces. I also went to Harvard, but that didn't have any, it was all part of the same unfolding, but without awareness. Looking back on it, it was like sleepwalking, except I was sort of awake, sort of. Mm-hmm. And then in 1985, I met a non-physical teacher. Actually,
are you happy with what you see?
Go look at your bank account. Are you happy with what you have? Go look at your relationships. How do those look? And then let's think about the last 365 days. Let's go further back. Let's think about the last 1,000 days. And let's think about the decisions you made. Did you become that version of yourself that you see in the mirror over the last week? Or did you become that version of yourself over the last 1,000 days, telling yourself the same fucking bullshit story that you're telling yourself literally right now? That's the scenario. That's the truth. You've earned this situation, whether you understand that or not. All those times you missed workouts, all those times you didn't eat what you knew you should eat, all those times you didn't make those decisions that you should have made, all those times you chose not to apply yourself, you've earned what you have. And some people who have a better situation than you, they've earned it as well. They've earned it over the last 1,000 days with the right decisions, the right mentality, the right actions. And what they see is very different than you. And so what you have to understand is you're earning your future right now, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. And when it comes time to be accountable to yourself for the decisions that you made and the life that you built, I hope that you're mature enough and grown up enough to admit to yourself that you created this. Because it's not until you admit to yourself what you have created that you can change what you are going to create. And that's what I want to talk to you about.
Family, your work, where you live, the perspective that you have right now is your world. Your perspective is your world. You see, how we view things is how we do things. And that's why it's possible for two people to live in the same world and have two totally different viewpoints of that world. You see, we don't see what is before us. We see what our perspective is. So you run into somebody that has an abundance mindset, they see opportunity. You see somebody that has a scarcity mindset, they see closed doors. Now, it's the same world. The world is the same, but our perspective is not the same. Most of my life, 80% of my time, I really deal in the business community, and I deal with people that by and large don't know God. And so when I would be...
Write this down if you would. Change your story, change your life. You change your story, you change your life. You have the power to change what things mean. I'm not saying you didn't go through hell. I'm not saying you haven't been through injustice. I've been through it too. Everybody has been. I'm saying that you did something with it. That's what changes our lives. Divorce the story of your limitation and marry the truth of your true potential, your true ability, your true skill.
The first one is you should get clear about what your dreams are, as opposed to just have a hint of them, because soft, intuitive, undisclosed dreams are just there to bother you. But specific dreams can be challenged. Specific dreams give you the chance to say, no, I don't really want that. And then the second thing is to be very clear about the change you seek to make. The change you seek to make in yourself and in others. You are not entitled to change other people. They have to go along with you. Which leads to the third one, which is to develop the empathy to realize that other people don't see what you see, don't want what you want, don't need what you need, and that's okay. So if we can bring other people something that helps them achieve their dreams in a way that helps us, it's way more likely that's going to happen than if we just sit in a dark corner whining about the fact that our intuitive dream hasn't come true yet.
The most important skill to create a great quality of life is the skill of leadership. Leadership doesn't mean you tell people to do and they do it, or that people follow you. Leadership means you live life by your standards, that you won't settle unless you can do, be, share, create, or give. And what makes you a leader is one skill above any other skill. The minute you decide to serve, other people, you become a leader. Because it isn't about you anymore. It doesn't matter what your position is in a company or in your family. The decision to truly serve, where it's not about you, gives you an energy and a power that most people don't have. But then the second thing is there's a skill to leadership. And the most important skill of leadership is influence.
Just beat yourself up for things that you do, things that you don't do, the way that you did something, the way that you didn't do something, for the things that you're thinking, for the things that you're, it's just like life is hard enough. You don't have to be such an asshole to yourself. Like, why is self-love so important? Because it really helps you and starts to help you build confidence. Or if you don't have it, if you are negative to yourself, it hurts you and it hurts your confidence. And so the way I always say is, like, I like to think of confidence of like Jenga blocks, right? When you start to speak positively to yourself, when you start to do things that are heading in the right direction, in alignment with the life you're trying to create, it's like taking another little Jenga block and you're just putting them out there and you're stacking these confidence blocks. But as you start talking shit to yourself, it's like pulling one of them away. And so a lot of people are like, how do I have more confidence? And almost always when I ask somebody who asks me that question, how do I have more confidence?
Yeah, nothing changes and nothing changes, man. You know, we'll sit around forever wondering, well, what if I was a dog catcher? Would I be the best? What if I was
Every day we change the world, but to change the world in a way that means anything, that takes more time than most people have. It never happens all at once. It's slow, it's methodical, it's exhausting. We don't all have the stomach for it.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it.
You see, before then, I had been focusing very much on the external. I'd been thinking about how can I get these things to come to me, and what technique can I use, and how many times can I visualize it. And it was all about things externally. And then when I started to listen to what Neville Goddard was saying, he was basically saying you can only manifest things that match up to your level of what you see as possible for you. And your external world and what you attract, what you let yourself receive, will always be a direct reflection of how you see yourself, of what you believe is possible for you, of how you think things work for you, what your story is about yourself, and also how you show up and who your subconscious mind believes that you are. You've seen it on catchy Instagram quotes where people say you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are being.
Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. That's the time to act. You say, Mr. Rohn, I'd like to have a library like yours. See if you feel strong about that. What you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book. Before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim, action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible. Because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, now the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now, it's cold. A year from now, can't be found.
My very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I want to get my head right. I do this thing called priming. Now, some people get up in the morning and they meditate. And I think meditation is wonderful, but I haven't met many people that can not think thoughts. This is a different outcome. This is about priming yourself. It's about putting yourself in the state where your mind and body will respond accordingly.
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge.
Pay attention. Things are moving so fast these days. You got to pay attention. Pick it up. Soak up the colors. Soak up the sounds. Soak up what's going on. Second, respond. Let life touch you. Let the emotions affect you as well as the sights. Now here's the third ability. Develop the ability to reflect. Reflect means go back over. Study it again. Go back over these notes that you're taking today. Go back through the cassettes one more time. Read the text one more time. But there's more to it than that. Go back over your day. I call it run the tapes again, so that the day locks in firmly. Here's some good times to reflect. One, at the end of the day. Take a few minutes at the end of the day. Go back over the day. Who'd you see and what'd they say and what happened? How'd you feel? What went on? So that you capture that day. A day is a piece of the mosaic of your life.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers, free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. And you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, my God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you. And therefore, you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now, all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? Your relationships to your income. And when you shift your paradigm, everything in your life improves. It's an exciting idea, isn't it? Well, I'm Bob Proctor, and I want to welcome you to Paradigm Shift, where we're going to teach you how to make dramatic improvements in the quality of your life. Think about your life for a moment. I want you to think about the results in your life and think about the concept of a paradigm shift. What is a paradigm? How are paradigms formed? How can they be changed? That's what I want to talk to you about. And I think as you get into this, you're really going to like it. Ask yourself this question. Why would anyone look at a tremendous opportunity offering them time and money freedom and then walk away from it? Do you know, you hear people day in, day out say, I wished I had this, I wished I had that, I wished I had this car, I wish we could take this vacation. Why did they walk away from it? Well, most people say, well, I really don't know. I don't think there's an answer to that. No, there is an answer to that.
And so you say in your life, well, something grips you and fills you with interest. And you think, well, should I do that? And the answer is, if not that, then something. What if it's a mistake? It's a mistake. Rest assured. What do you know? You're going to stumble around, right? And what's going to happen is this. You're going to move, you're going to not stay in stasis. You're not going to wander around in circles. And I see people like that. They said, well, I never knew what to do, and now I'm 40. It's like, that's not so good. That's not so good. And you might say, well, and there is a literature too that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back on their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
Listen to me, I'm not playing. I'm here to shame you. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be real. I don't even want to go there. I'm here to shame you. And I'm here to shame you, not because I want to hurt your feelings, but I'm hoping to pull something out of you that's already in you, but you just haven't pulled it out yet. You got to hear this.
If you're a business owner, you have to see the future. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to look forward into the future. What's going to happen next? If you're driving a car, it's responsible to look ahead. Everybody agree? If you're skiing down a mountain, you might want to keep your attention out in front of you. If you're riding a motorcycle, you might want to not pay attention to right where you are, but where you're going. Pay attention to the future. What dreams and goals do you have that are more important than the money you have? Invest money to hit your targets. Quit telling yourselves lies about money. Exchange money. The only purpose of money is to exchange money for time and connections. The only reason you have money is to exchange money for time and people. You need people, folks. You need people, man. You're going to grow your business with people that work for you and people that you sell products to. Be so obsessed.
The title is very empowering. Oh my gosh, I get to change my world. So when I write the book as a leader, I ask myself, okay, how do I equip people and how do I empower people? And I came to the conclusion that there are 9 things that have to happen to equip and empower people in your business, okay? This works for you wherever you are, whatever you do. If you're equipping and empowering people, the 9 things I'm going to share with you will help you equip and empower you. Now, because I'm a leader, when I write this book, I'm an author leader or a leader author. My 9 chapters are the 9 things that you need to equip people. So what I almost always have is a leadership story inside of my book. And in fact, I'm trying to think, Sarah. I was with a small group of major leaders recently, and I sat down with them and I shared a little bit of what I'm going to share, not as extensive as I'm going to share with you now. I've never shared this, so this isn't like a sugar stick, but I'm going to give you an overview of the book. It'll be a little choppy because I'm just wanting to get like highlights. But what I want you to catch is the fact that the 9 chapters of the book are the 9 things you need to do to equip and empower people. So let's get going. So the best way I would, if I was taking notes where you, I would kind of start this off. To change our world, we must have ... Okay? That's kind of like the heading. To change our world, we must ... have. Okay, what do you have to have? Number 1, to change your world, to change my world, we have to have a passion that stirs us. And I begin with passion because passion is the great motivator. When people are passionate about something, you don't need to motivate. Let's put it this way: you never have to motivate a passionate person. If somebody's passionate about the business, you don't have to wake them up and say, "Could you get out of bed and kind of do your thing now?" Passion energizes people. When you have hope, there's a passion that you have. I've never known anybody that had hope that lacked energy and passion. They go together. Just like a loss of hope has the opposite negative effect. So I talk in chapter 1 about the difference between optimism and hope. And I think this is huge because I think, again, in your business, there's an awful lot of optimism and there's not near as much hope. For example, optimism is kind of like a belief that things can be done, that things can be accomplished. A belief that, things can get better. I can reach my dream. It's a belief.
It'll change your life. Change your life. I spent 9 months on stage telling people to do this as a hypocrite because I'd miss 1 or 2 days all the time. Gratitude relates exactly to every single thing that we're talking to. So gratitude has created the philosophies of my entire life. I can change your entire life. So let's start with the basis of gratitude itself is, you have one choice for truth. You can look at something as half full or half empty. You can look at it on the positive side or the negative. So what do I start with? Eternal life. Nobody can prove on earth, never in the history of the world, have they ever been able to prove whether when you die, that's it, or when you die, you get to live forever. So my decision in gratefulness and gratitude was, what would a better life be? One believing that it ends or it continues. So I chose continue. Right? Then you look at the activity of everything you do and it's like, do I have to do this or do I get to do this? So first of all, I say thank you.
And they can wait for tomorrow. But here's the thing, guys. You only get so many tomorrows. And the truth of the matter is eventually when those tomorrows run out, you're gonna have to answer for the decisions that you made and the decisions that you didn't make. And so I want to solve this puzzle for you in your mind permanently right now. You are going to get exactly the life that you deserve. Every single one of you listening. Now you can tell yourself all these stories, and you can tell yourself all these excuses, and you can point the finger of blame, and you can say circumstances are different. And you could say all of these things, but at the end of the day, you're going to get exactly what you deserve. And what do you deserve? If we're being honest, what do you deserve? Go look in the mirror.
Some days, she's a warrior. Some days, she's a broken mess. Most days, she's a bit of both. But every day, she's there standing, fighting, and trying.
We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here, we work over here, we go get our coffee over here, we go to this park over here, we usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
What matters is, at some point, you have to identify what you want to do, and you've got to become the best in the world at that, period.
When you live in America, now please write this down. Now, if we want to debate, we can debate on the percentages. But let me just say that 75%, when you were born in America, 75% of the work has already been done when you're born in this country.
You have these idealized versions of purpose that I think Instagram and all this stuff kind of make terrible. But I think there's a lot of honor in work, period. And I think a lot of people fool themselves by thinking that what they do for some reason is not